What is up, everybody? Dennis Tui here alongside Brandon and Natali, and together we are Sports Shack, serving your sports takes. I love it. For those of you who are seeing this for the first time, Brandon and I have been working together since 2019. College radio, then we were at another company, a sports media company where we were writing a ton of articles and doing a bunch of podcasts. And now we're here together on our own terms,
That's right.
serving it up, cooking a little bit. So,
Trying to
big
cook.
news out of the National Football League today and out of MetLife Stadium. What is it? What is it? One Jets drive, one Jets play. What is it? Help me out here.
One at Florham Park, I believe it's one Jets drive. Yeah.
Okay. Out of that place of residency, as the New York Jets have fired general manager Joe Douglas after a couple of years there. And I had to say, I thought some of the results were pretty good. However, clearly the Jets ownership didn't seem to think so. Woody Johnson there, or what does he want to be called now? Ambassador Woody Johnson?
Ambassador Woody Johnson. Well, we don't know.
Good for him.
Yet. We don't know specifically yet if it hasn't been confirmed yet if he's going to the UK.
Funny enough, he's actually been a general manager of the New York Jets our entire run doing sports media together.
Yeah. That's crazy.
That's
I'm
wild.
not gonna lie. Yeah, no, it's who knows what's going on with Woody Johnson. It hasn't been confirmed yet if he's going back to the UK to serve under ambassador for Trump under the UK.
Yeah.
A lot has been going on within these past. Yeah, I realized that. Yeah, he's been a GM of the Jets the whole during when we first started working together in the sports industry, the sports world.
I remember when we talked about it. It was on one of our first shows. Might have been our first show. We talked about Joe Douglas. That was years ago. Wow.
Yeah, man.
Time flies when you're having fun.
But yeah, no, that's
So you're the diehard Jet fan here.
Yeah.
Obviously, one Jets drive and everything like that, and I don't. Talk to me. What is this? What is this like? I thought outside looking in, I always thought the Jets had some pretty good drafts over the last couple of years. Even the Zach Wilson pick, I didn't think was too bad. Hindsight being 2020, especially now with how Aaron Rodgers has done. Woof. And now this season they've regressed. 2 years ago with Zach Wilson, they had a better record than they had last year. Last year, they had a better record than they have this year. And here they are searching for answers. They fired Joe Douglas after firing Robert Saleh earlier this season. Brandon, the biggest Jets fan I've ever met and probably will ever meet. Give me your thoughts. Lay it on me.
I appreciate it. Say if me being the diehard Jets fan, I don't know whether nowadays that's a compliment or not. I guess because I guess nothing against my Jets, but come on.
I think it is.
I guess because you want to say, oh, you're a Jets fan. Hey, I'm sorry for you. Yeah, hey, I appreciate it because it has not been easy these past 13 years. 13, 14 years. Now it's going to be 14 years now. I'm just tired of it. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it where I'm numb to the point where it's like, oh, Joe Douglas is getting fired. Oh, hey, not surprised. It's not like I haven't seen this before. You look at the Steelers, not to compare the two, but the Steelers are obviously one of the best organizations in football. And not just in football, but in sports in general. They probably go through 3 head coaches within the past 60 years. I think it was Chuck Noll and Bill Cowher, and then Mike Tomlin. The Jets have had probably at least 15, triple that. Maybe quadruple it. Maybe 5 times more head coaches in that span. That's awful. That is putrid. And so I feel bad for Joe Douglas in a way. I don't know. I feel bad, but I don't. I was a big Joe Douglas advocate. But at the same time, he wasn't perfect either way. You trade away Sam Darnold and you draft Zach Wilson, the quarterback. At the end of the day, that's going to be the knock on you. That's going to determine what happens with the organization. Quarterback, that's a huge decision. Franchise altering, especially for the Jets. The Jets are not known for having the quarterbacks. And he was kind of brought in to kind of be that guy to fix that situation, to bring in the franchise quarterback. So they didn't hit on Zach Wilson. Then they ended up trading for Aaron Rodgers. So one mistake led to another mistake. Pressure, moves, especially within New York. And I don't really feel like he had sometimes I don't feel like he had a fair shot. He got hired in June of 2019. He didn't get hired right away at like beginning of the offseason. No, Mike Maccagnan made those moves, and then Chris Johnson, who was interim owner at the time as Woody was in UK, decides, hey, you cooked for us, thank you, but now we got to let you go, which is like so dysfunctional, and that's not really what you should do. A smart organization doesn't do that. Like, am I wrong, Dennis? Like, who fires someone after making all those moves in the offseason?
It's bizarre. The Jets are really poorly ran.
Yeah, and that's another thing. So I don't feel so. I mean, but Joe Douglas has had a lot of time. He's put together a good roster. I mean, he did hire Salah. I don't really feel like a lot of it is on Douglas. He shouldn't get a lot of this blame because, like I said, even though Douglas has made some blunders or picks, like also Mekhi Becton, which my friend Chris I know would get me on that, but he did draft Sauce Gardner, Garrett Wilson, Brees Hall, Jermaine Johnson, drafted Michael Carter. Signed DJ Reed. Then, like I said, looked after players like Tony Adams, found Xavier Gibson, and drafted Toe Tippin. So, like, he did bring in some talent, but at the same time, the coaching wasn't there. And at the end of the day, like, hit on the quarterback, it's going to come back at you. And it just, and like I said, I think the coaching led to the bad playing, and then that falls on the GM. So it's just layers on top of layers. So at the same time, it just, at the end of the day, it's not going to work out. But a lot of it, in my opinion, falls on the ownership. I'm seeing a lot of reports now today that now I just saw something that Woody Johnson, that Joe Douglas actually wanted to trade for. Actually, now I'm seeing another thing that Joe Douglas had a contract extension offer. He was getting ready to propose to Jets defensive end Bryce Huff. But Woody Johnson vetoed it. And other moves, including paying new money to players on a roster. So it also says, additionally, Douglas was shocked when Johnson fired assistant GM Rex Hogan. In the aftermath, Douglas told Jet staffers that Woody should have just fired me now. And this is just coming in. This is from The Athletic. So a lot of things are coming. The Athletic is, coming up now with stuff now that we've probably seen now more than ever. So like I said, I don't feel like Joe Douglas should get a ton of blame. Because like I said, and I forgot who said it. I think it was Todd McShay. If you don't win with Joe Douglas, you're never going to win, period. And he's not wrong. I don't agree with a lot of it, but he's not also wrong. Because Joe Douglas is pretty well regarded. And he was signed here for a reason. And another thing. So like I said, a lot of it, and I'll stand by that. I think Joe Douglas was a good GM. Not perfect, but he did bring in some good talent. It just didn't work out. And that happens. So, like you said, with the Jets, how the Jets are poorly ran, Dennis, a lot of it's on Woody Johnson. The Jets are never going to be anything until Woody Johnson sells the team. And a lot of people, I think that topic, and I just commented on a Jet post on Instagram, that topic, it's always been talked about. People are like, oh, Woody should sell the team. Johnson sell the team. The topic has never been talked about more now. That seat is on fire, that question. It's never been talked about more now than I think ever. The media is now all over it. People, fans is texting on social media. People want Woody to sell the team. And so supposedly, so Joe Douglas supposedly wanted to go get Jerry Jeudy, but now supposedly Woody vetoed that too. And what's going on my screen? Oh, that was weird. You still see me?
Yeah, I do.
That was weird for a second. So now supposedly another big report from the Athletic. The Athletic is just coming. It's just balling with this right now. The Athletic is having a field day with this. They're just like, it's like Curry from half court type stuff. You know what I mean? The Athletic now came up with something where after the Broncos loss, Woody Johnson called a meeting with coaches and front office execs and suggested the team bench Aaron Rodgers in favor of Tyrod Taylor. So this is after week 4. I feel like it's a little too soon for him to be benched after we've all waited for him to be, all the offseason, so I feel like week 4 for him to be benched, that to me is a little crazy. And so, yeah, now the the more implications from the article. This is all from The Athletic. Johnson supposedly, fired Saleh without consulting anybody. He blocked Bryce Huff's extensions. So from Douglas, Johnson nixed the trade. It was offering Lazard and a day 2 pick for Jerry Jeudy. And Johnson nixed that. Woody Johnson, micromanaged of JD, escalated to forcing Douglas to fire close friend Rex Hogan. So that sucks. So, and then what else? Hassan Reddick held out after Johnson refused to negotiate a contract extension.
Yeah, that I think is a little more on Reddick.
They're saying, so Tyron Smith and Mike Williams signings were Johnson-driven. Johnson pushed for Devontae Adams trade. So you can see, Dennis, everything is Woody Johnson. And at the end of the day, it's all about money to Woody, and it's all about business, in my opinion. So It's clear he doesn't know football. He doesn't know what he's doing. And he just keeps running this team into the ground. And they're never going to be anything unless they sell the team. So I feel for Joe Douglas. I don't feel a lot of blame should go on him. Because, like I said, you're not going to be successful when you have Woody Johnson as your owner. So I feel for Joe Douglas, and I know he's well regarded around the league, so he's going to get a good head coaching gig, whether it's in not head coaching. I'm sorry, he's going to find a good executive role, whether it's for the Ravens or for the Eagles. A report came out earlier, like last week, that he actually was looking for real estate in Baltimore, so he might be going back to Baltimore. But I'm numb to I'm kind of numb to it. Like I was expecting him to get fired, and. Because, I've been through so much as a Jet fan. It's like, oh, he got fired? Oh, all right. Carry on. So, that's my thoughts on it. And I'm not saying it's going to be the end of the Jets. Because if Detroit can get good, hey. Detroit can get good. And Detroit is winning now. They're going to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
If the Knicks could be good again, then the Jets got a shot. Heck, if the Bills could end an 18-year playoff drought, which the Jets are close to it, then anything's possible for the Jets. So, but for now, it is not good. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a big Jets fan, and I'm also a big football fan. And so I got to be realistic. And I can tell you right now, it's a dumpster fire. It's not good. And that's my thoughts on that. What do you think?
I think you guys should have kept Zach Wilson as a backup to Aaron Rodgers.
Really? I don't know. I feel like that experiment was kind of said and done. What they never should have did was they never should have got rid of Sam Darnold.
I disagree with that.
Really?
I think that I think he was worse than Zach Wilson was. What? And I don't think it's particularly close.
You serious? Really? You think so?
Yeah. Because I didn't think he was salvageable with the Jets, Sam Darnold. Zach Wilson could have just been written off as the expectations that the Jets had for him were just clearly too high. He wasn't bad. He wasn't a bad quarterback at all. He outplayed Patrick Mahomes and Jalen Hurts.
He just wasn't coached right.
That happened. It's not like I'm making it up.
But there's some games he wasn't.
There's some games he didn't look good, and then again, there's times where he outplayed Jalen Hurts and
so I know what
Patrick
you mean.
Mahomes.
The potential was there, but
the potential was there, but the kid just needed more experience
and better coaching. And
Sam Darnold, the whole "I'm seeing ghosts" thing. It's I honestly don't think I've never heard of a player saying something dumber mid-game than that.
I also think that
it's like the New York media were just, especially the Jets media in particular, just dude, don't. What are you doing? Why? What does that even mean?
But it's not easy playing in New York. It's not easy. And
so
that's what drives these people away. It's the media.
Look at Daniel Jones.
Some of the fans. Yeah, exactly. And he can't. It's it's sad because the expectation is to win now, and it's hard.
And I think that's what hurt Zach Wilson. And a credit to Joe Douglas and how he built the Jets. But then they started to build a winner everywhere except the quarterback position, and now people are looking at this kid right out of college who was drafted to be a project quarterback. He was not drafted. Everybody knew this when he got drafted. He was not drafted to change the franchise right away. That's not what they thought they were getting from him. They were getting somebody that they could, in a few years, build.
And it just didn't happen.
And then everybody's looking at him to make the playoffs, and he clearly wasn't ready for it.
Yeah, I don't think.
So I thought they should have kept him just as a backup to Rodgers. But at the same time, too, they shattered the kid's confidence.
The potential was there. The potential. The coaching. They definitely didn't handle it right, and they never do. The Jets never do. They're known for doing it. They're known for ruining quarterbacks. So it's like people say,
Yeah.
like when they could have got someone like Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson. Like oh look, it's like they compare it to like them missing out on Dan Marino in '83, and then not getting Tom Brady. But you don't know that. You don't know if these players are going to turn
Yeah.
out to be as good. Like Josh Allen would not be Josh Allen if he was on the Jets. Neither would Lamar Jackson.
People forget Josh Allen did not start off as being some generational talent. He was
No,
another
he had the right
project.
coaching. He had the right
Brian Dable is the one that really kind of built him up.
Yeah, like I said, he had the right coaching, and the Jets didn't have that, with Zach Wilson. What pisses me off is that Mike LaFleur, who was the offense OC, like for a couple years under Robert Saleh, the first 2 years of that regime, I remember at the end of his second year when everything was going on with Zach Wilson and the benching, and they were on their collapse after going 7-4. He came out in a press conference and said it firsthand. He's like, yeah, like looking back, looking back on it. I would have let Zach Wilson sit and walk behind a veteran. It's like, now you say this? Really? Oh, it's too late, bud. Like, really? Like, are you kidding me? But, like, you know what I mean? But, like, they make the same mistake constant and constant and constant. It's just not fair. Because, like I said, they don't know how to, Zach Wilson probably should have, like, you look at Mahomes. Like, he sat for a year, and then when he was ready, he became the Patrick Mahomes that he became. Tom Brady sat for a year. I'm just saying, like, some quarterbacks are different. I know CJ Stroud started right out of the game, and he's a pretty good quarterback, you know?
Yeah.
Um, it's not, I don't, some quarterbacks are different. Some you can just come out right out of the gate, like Caleb Williams. He probably should have sat for a year, but everyone gave him so much expectations, and especially the team around him, where, like you said, Zach Wilson was given that expectation that he was going to come in to win now. Everyone's giving that to Caleb Williams, and Caleb may not be ready for it. Plus, he might not also have the right coaching either, because people are blaming Matt Eberflus and that coaching, and they just fired their OC. So now, is his development going to be stunted now, Caleb, too? So that's another thing. So, like I said, it's a mess with the Jets, and like I said, they're not going to be anything unless Woody sells the team, and I just hope they do something right. They hire the right people for this, and maybe it would be good if Woody goes as be the UK ambassador because he's not going to be involved. I liked Chris Johnson a little bit, because he's the one that hired Douglas, and then Douglas hired Saleh. I don't believe Saleh was a bad coach. I just don't.
No.
I don't. I
No.
just think maybe a lot of it was from the ownership, and the ownership always scapegoats the coaching, and we've seen it from time in and time on. Eric Mangini was scapegoated from Woody Johnson after they collapsed in '08. But like, we're really gonna blame that on Mangini? Brett Favre got hurt, and he still played. He insisted on playing. I'm pretty sure. I guess it falls on the coaching, sure, but like at the same time, like you're the guy that brought in Brett Favre. Probably could have kept Pennington for another year. Who knows what would have happened? But so yeah, with Joe Douglas, like I said, he shouldn't get too much blame for this. A lot of it falls on the ownership, and that's what I think on this.
Yeah, I think firing Robert Saleh, hindsight being 2020, and even at the time I thought it was a little ridiculous. That was the point of no return. That was the biggest mistake they made.
Yeah, that was
Because
stupid.
I understand that they weren't winning games and you want to do something. They were a game out of first place, and now they're an afterthought. Nobody in the league is taking them seriously anymore. Their defense, I don't want. I know you're a big Jet fan. I mean, it's not like you play for the team, so you probably shouldn't get too offended. It's pathetic.
No,
They're
it's not the
they're
same
not a
as it was
tough
last year. No,
defense.
it's
They're
not the
not
same as
tough.
it was last year.
They they kind of don't even look like they try a lot of times. I don't know. Sauce Gardner. Do you want to talk about living on reputation? I mean,
Just go back
He has not looked good this year.
Ahmad Gardner.
Yeah, seriously, man. Weak sauce.
Mild sauce.
I mean, I I don't know.
It's you know what, and
You
you know
had a
like
defensive minded head coach, and the defense was excellent. You get rid of him, and the defense is, you know, decayed to, nothing, basically.
I think a lot of it is like I said, you look at the Commanders. Dan Schneider sold the team. Josh Harris came in. That culture has changed. Like the Commanders are a whole new different team. I don't think people took the Commanders seriously, and I'll get my friend James on this to say it that they weren't taken seriously, and now you look at them now. They got a great quarterback.
Right.
They got a great head coach, great culture. People want to play for the Commanders. And they're going to get a new stadium eventually too. So, like I said, I think it really shows. So, like Dan Schneider was kind of the owner that people looked at in the NFL. Like, oh yeah, that's the worst owner. Woody Johnson took over that. Woody Johnson took over that. I mean, you could say Jimmy Haslam
Do
from
you
the
do you
Browns
think
or Mark Davis.
Spanos from the Chargers?
But they got better. They did hire Jim Harbaugh. I mean,
But
you
I
could
mean, after like 20 years of just horrible decisions after horrible decision,
it's true. You could say that because at the same time,
they
he also
succeeded
drove
in
away.
spite of a lot,
It's
and
true.
the fan base hates him.
No, it's true, especially after moving the team away from San Diego. That too, so he could be up there. Like I was on board with them leaving San Diego. They
Yeah,
probably could have built
especially
a
they used to
stadium.
sell out every game. Now they can't draw a stick figure, let alone a crowd.
Like that's tough. You know what I mean? But either way, like I said, Woody Johnson has now taken over the reins. So like I said, so I don't know. I feel like the more pressure from the media and just the fans. Supposedly, I saw another thing too, where if Woody Johnson, a lot of his decision makings is what he sees from like the media and the fans, social media. That's not good,
No,
in my opinion. Why are you letting us dictate your decisions? You're the owner. You're the like. You're the guy. Like these are people's lives at stake. Like you're the guy. If you believe in a guy, you keep him. Where Brian DeBall of the Giants, like John Mara has publicly came out and said he's keeping Brian DeBall and Joe Shane. I don't know how true that is because we saw another report that Brian DeBall is fighting for his job. But either way, I just don't feel like that's not a leader of an organization, in my opinion.
yeah, it's kind of like He's kind of like bargain bin George Steinbrenner. And when did Yankees turn their franchise around? It was when George Steinbrenner was suspended from the league. He was banned from the league, and they had the patience to stick, building the whole farm system up with Posada and Jeter and
Either, yeah.
Andy Pettit and Mariano Rivera, all those guys, all those core guys, he drafted. Didn't trade them. When in the past, the Yankees definitely would have traded prospects like that. And
Wait, but George drafted those players?
no, it was Stick Michael drafted them. G. Michael, but Steinbrenner was banned from the league. So I mean, who knows? Maybe that's what they need. Maybe Woody Johnson doesn't necessarily have to sell the team. He just has to be taken out of the equation wildly by the Trump administration to be the ambassador to England. Can't believe that would ever come out of my mouth, but yeah,
But
Sports Jack.
but yeah, so I guess that sums out the Joe Douglas take. Anything else?
How did you think this Jet season was going to go? Because I always saw this being a dumpster fire. I saw this being a tire fire from a mile away.
Yeah, you know what? I feel like we talked a lot about Joe Douglas and the and we talked a lot about Woody Johnson, but we haven't really talked a lot about Aaron Rodgers. But I feel like we should save that for another time because obviously, but I had high expectations for this year. I thought I was going to go to my first home playoff game. I wasn't one to say we could win the Super Bowl. I don't think I was going that extreme. It was a dream. I think this, but I that's what I mean. I had high expectations in that sense that we were going to fight for the division. Because think of it, we haven't my dad went to the last Jet home playoff game. He tells me about it all the time, and this was 20 years ago. That's a long time. You know how much? 20 years? That's a long time.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's what I thought. I thought I was going to go to my first home playoff game. But, Rodgers regressed. He's not the same. I think a lot of it is wrong timing. They trade for Rodgers. Jets just supposedly set last year. The team is set and ready to go. And then 4 plays later, he tears his Achilles. It's a washed season. You go into this year, people think that the team didn't really change. Well, did it? It changed a lot. 5 of your key defensive players left. John Franklin Myers, Bryce Huff, Quentin Johnson, Al Woods, and then Jordan Whitehead. Those were 5 big players on the team. Now, Jordan Whitehead wasn't a good tackler, but he was a great defender, a great ball hawk and safety. And then obviously Bryce Huff was their pass rusher. Who got him? Joe Douglas. Jets have been known for not having a pass rusher. Bryce Huff kind of was one of the other players that kind of broke that trend. People saying that I had a pass rusher since John Abraham. Well, he was the guy. He was the guy. And of course, we didn't bring him back. And so, but so I think a lot of everything is wrong timing because, like I said, Jets defense is not the same. Rodgers is washed and not the same. I think he's hurt more than ever. He probably has a torn hamstring. He's just playing through it. Like he's hurt left and right. It's not everybody can do what Tom Brady did. Tom Brady is Tom Brady. Not everybody's going to be Tom Brady. So I think for everybody to think that he was going to, play, well at age 41, not everybody can do it. So I just, but Rodgers realistically hasn't had that bad of a year, but he hasn't been perfect either. He can't see the field. He's blaming people left and right. He doesn't look like he's having fun. It's not what so this was definitely not what I expected this season. The expectations, I had high expectations to see it come out like a dumpster fire, potentially fighting for the first overall pick. I think, in my opinion, I am shocked. That's what I thought.
Yeah. The thing that stands out to me with Rodgers, I said it in our group chat the other day, it reminds me of Colts Matt Ryan. When that offensive line collapses, he's helpless.
Yeah, that's true.
He's helpless.
That's it. Anything else before you want to wrap up?
No. I think we're good here. I'm sorry that your Jets are doing so bad. Everything, you guys can't catch a break. And I look at my Giants, and we're really not much better. I would still rather have the Giants' future than the Jets, because at least we're trending upward instead of downward.
Right now,
we
the
have
Jets
Malik Neighbors, and we have young players, and Joe Shane is pretty good at drafting. I mean, this Tyrone Tracy kid, what a steal he was. But
I think with the Giants, they definitely need patience. Like I don't think I like Brian Daboll. I like Joe Shane. I watch Hard Knocks. I think they should be ripped more for letting Barkley go.
I'm with you on that. Don't get me started.
That should be more. But besides that, they had put together a good roster, and I say it all the time. Just I like to fight with the Giants fans because I don't like I don't like hearing my team being called because you know me, you know how I am. But I'll say it. They suck. They suck. There's nothing to it. So
I'm not denying it. I'm just saying
I can't defend them anymore. So I don't know. So I don't know what to expect. So I mean, I don't know. It's future is going to be interesting, but for now, I just want the season to be over. Honestly, just end the suffering, please. Jets, just end the suffering. So, and they said players are checked out. They're ready players are ready for the season to be over. Jets. That's the thing. The Jets got the talent. It's the coaching and just the ownership that meddles in. And like I said, they're never going to be. I'm going to keep saying it. They're not going to be anything until Woody sells the team, and I'm going to stand by that. Just cluster F word, and words I can't say on here. And even though it's kind of our podcast now, our show, I'm still going to try to keep it PG.
Yeah, right.
And that's my thoughts. Is there anything else?
No.
Wrap it up for us?
Oh, sure. This has been the first edition of Sports Shack. Thanks for stopping by. And yeah, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow us on Instagram at Sports Shack. We got real creative with the handle. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for giving us your time tonight.
That's right. Have a good night.